Code Enforcement Board meeting will come to order.
You don't need to read that procedure since
Okay.
there's nobody here.
We're going to start with, okay. Oh, good. Then we start with the invocation. Please, everybody stand up.
Our Father in heaven, we seek blessings on the task before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is in the best interest of the city of Tarpon Springs. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Bobby, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Santos is absent and excused. Mr. Casey?
Here.
Mr. Kramer? Mr. Umvesi?
Here.
Ms. Archer? Here. Mr. DeMontis?
Here.
Mr. Polinsky?
Here.
Thank you. And Al Plunkett?
Okay, we're going to waive the hearing procedures, and if you need to be sworn in, will you please stand up?
Do you swear the testimony about your whole truth and but the truth? I do. Thank you.
All right, case item number 1 on the agenda.
This is case, let me get you by saying, my name is Cindy Sanner. I'm the Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Tarpon Springs, and there is no one in the audience today for any of these cases so far. This is case 13-2000029. The property address is 1112 East Oakwood Street, and the property owner of record is Kathleen Robeson. On June 13th of this year, we received a complaint that an above-ground pool had been installed on this property next to the complainant's fence. He didn't think that the setbacks were to code, and he was told by engineering that a permit was required. I contacted Development Services on June 14th and spoke to Laney, who confirmed that a permit was required for this pool and that there was no permit on file for the pool. This property was in violation of Code 6-1, Building Code Adopted, and 105.1, Permit Required. The property owner of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and the tenant, were sent a notice of violation on June 18th and a notice of hearing sent first-class mail and certified return receipt on July 31st. A reinspection was conducted prior to each notification going out. The certified notice of hearings were all returned unclaimed. On July 23rd, Laney from Development Services called to say that the tenant had called her to get information to apply for the permit. Since the property owner lives out of state, the tenant would have to hire a licensed contractor to apply for the permit. The alternative would be to remove the pool. The tenant alone is not allowed to pull a permit. The property was posted on August 29th. On September 9th, we received a message from Judy Blevins, who is the tenant. She stated that she ordered a pool drain kit today and that she will drain the pool and remove it. I conducted a site visit yesterday, found the pool still up. I also spoke to the tenant. She reiterated that she ordered the pool drain kit from the manufacturer and she will remove the pool as soon as the kit arrives and she can drain it. The property is in violation of codes 6-1 and 105.1. In order to give her adequate time to take the pool down, I recommend a compliance date of October 7th, 2013, and a daily fine thereafter of $25 per day.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Cindy? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. I move, based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that at the time of the alleged violations, Section 6-1 and 105.1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tarpon Springs was enforced. The respondent has until the 7th day of October 2013 to come into compliance with the code sections, or a fine of $25 per day shall be imposed for each day thereafter that the respondent remains in violation of said code.
Second. Second, okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, Bobby, can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Swansky?
Yes.
Mr. Demasis?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Vesey?
Yes.
Mr. Casey?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item number 2.
This is case 13-8000351. The property address is 742 Arthur's Court. The original property owner was Jean P. Bowden, and the current property owners are Tanya M. Rorick, Lyle R. Osman, and Juanita Osman. We received a complaint on May 9th that the pool on this property had not been maintained in over a year. I conducted an inspection on May 13th. Due to a wooden privacy fence surrounding the backyard, I could not view the pool. However, I did find that the fence was damaged. There were full trash cans on the porch on trash pickup day, trash along the side of the house, and areas of the lawn were overgrown. This property was in violation of codes 8-16, pre-selection practices, 8-22, accumulation of trash and debris on private property, 8-40, duty of maintenance of private property, 8-52, nuisance prohibitions, and 36.03, fences, walls, and hedges. The property owners of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, were sent a courtesy letter on May 13th, and that one went to Gene Bowden. A notice of violation on May 28th also went to Gene Bowden. An amended notice of violation on June 17th went to all parties. Another amended notice of violation was sent on July 8th to all parties, and a notice of hearing sent first class mail and certified return receipt was sent on July 25th to all parties. A reinspection was conducted prior to each notification going out. All certified letters were returned to us. The reason for the additional notifications was due to additional violations occurring during the course of the reinspect. A trailer full of yard waste parked on a driveway, a damaged garage door, and an overgrown lawn, and a change in ownership during the course of the case. This property was now in violation of codes 8-16, 8-22, 8-40, 8-52, 36.03, IPMC 9-1, and IPMC 304.2. I posted the property on August 29th. Yesterday, I conducted a site visit and found that the lawn had been mowed, the trailer filled with debris had been removed from the property, and the fence had been repaired. The trash remained, and the garage door had not been repaired. The property was in compliance for codes 36.03 and 852. The property is in violation of codes 8-16, 8-22, 8-40, and IPMC 9-1 and IPMC 304.2. I recommend a compliance deadline of September 30th and a daily fine of $25 thereafter.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question for Cindy? Cindy, I do. You couldn't see the pool, so there's nothing on the...
I can't cite them if I can't view it.
Okay, so that's not...
Sometimes I'll mention in a courtesy letter that the complaint also included the pool, but I cannot trespass to view the pool.
Okay, thanks. I just wondered. All right. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make it. I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law that at the time of the alleged violation, sections 8-16, 8-22, 8-40, and IPMC 9-1 and IPMC 304.2, the Code of Ordinance of City of Tarpon Springs was enforced. The respondent has until the 30th day of September 2013 to come into compliance with the code section, or the fine of $25 per day shall be imposed for each day thereafter that the respondent remains in violation of said code section.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All right, Bobby, may we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Sobransky?
Yes.
Mr. Demasis?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer? Yes. Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Mr. Casey?
Yes. Okay, 3 is complied. So, item number 4.
This is case 13-800000536. The property address is 1721 Cromwell Drive. The original owner was Roseanne and Marcus Brewington, current owner of USA Federal National Mortgage Association. I think this is Freddie Mac. As of July 16th, 2013. This was proactive. On July 16th, there was a large tree on the right-of-way that was encroaching onto and hanging low over the street. The property was in violation of Code 7-12, National Fire Code adopted, 18-2-2-5.1.1 Fire Code tree maintenance, 8-40 duty of maintenance of private property, 8-52 nuisance prohibitions, and 133.02 tree maintenance. The property owners of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, were sent a courtesy letter on July 16th, a notice of violation on August 5th, and a notice of hearing sent first-class mail and certified return receipt on August 20th. A reinspection was conducted prior to each notification going out. I posted the property on August 29th. At that time, there were several men cleaning out the house for the bank. I told them that the lawn needed to be mowed as well as the tree trimmed. On September 11th of 2013, we received a call from Joyce Harris from Camelot Properties that stated that she would have the tree trimmed as soon as the bank approves the work. I conducted a site visit yesterday, September 11th, and found no change. This property is in violation of Code 7-12, 8-40, 8-52, 18.2.2.5.1.1, and 133.02. I recommend a compliance date of October 7th of 2013 and a daily fine thereafter of $25 per day.
It's a heck of a tree. Does anybody have any questions for Cindy? Okay, when Justin's done looking.
It is a heck of a tree. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful tree. It's just in the tree.
A little low.
Yeah, slightly.
Okay, since there are no questions, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law that at the time of the alleged violation of Sections 7-12, 8-40, 8-52, 18.2.2.5.1.1, and 133.02 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tarpon Springs were enforced. The respondent has until October 7th, 2013 to come into compliance with the code sections, or a fine of $25 per day shall be imposed. For each day thereafter, the respondent remains in violation of the said code sections.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, Bobby?
Mr. Florensky?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer? Yes. Mr. Vesey?
Yes.
Mrs. B. Casey?
Yes. Okay, number 5 is complied, so we'll go to number 6.
This is case 13-800000555. The property address is 40050 U.S. Highway 19 North. The property owner of record is Blue Tarpon Hotel, and this is a former Days Inn motel on U.S. 19. We received a complaint from Officer Steve Gasson on July 18th that there was a breach of the perimeter fence at this location. The vandals took copper plumbing materials from the rooms, so he asked the property owner to re-secure the fence and post no trespassing signs on the property. I called the realtor, Mark Klein, and relayed the information to him. He stated that he would call the attorney in charge of this property to see if there was money available to take care of the problems. I also called attorney Brian Ross and left him a voice message. This property was in violation of codes 8-40, duty of maintenance of private property, 36.03, fences, walls, and hedges, IPMC 9-1, International Property Maintenance Code adopted, IPMC 301.3, vacant structures and land, IPMC 302.7, accessory structures, IPMC 302.9, defacement of property, IPMC 304.2, protective treatment, and IPMC 304.6, exterior walls. The property owner of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, was sent a notice of violation on July 18th of 2013 and a notice of hearing sent first-class mail and certified return receipt on August 23rd. A reinspection was conducted prior to each notification going out. Copies of the notice of violation and notice of hearing were also emailed to Brian Ross and to Mark Klein. The documents that were sent to Blue Tarpon Hotels were all returned. On August 9th, I called Brian Ross to let him know that we also received a complaint that the property was now overgrown, which I did go out and verify. I posted the property on August 29th. I conducted a site visit yesterday and found no change. Yesterday we received a call from Brian Ross. He said that the mortgage has been assigned and the bank, the note, the mortgagor plans to demolish the buildings. I did check, and there was no ownership change in the tax collector's website or the property appraiser's website or in public records. This property is in violation of codes 8-40, 36.03, IPMC 9-1, IPMC 301.3, IPMC 302.7, IPMC 302.9, IPMC 304.2, and IPMC 304.6. I recommend a compliance deadline of September 30th of 2013 and a daily fine of no less than $50 per day.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question for Cindy? Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. I move, based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that at the time of the alleged violations, Sections 8-40, 36-03, IPMC 9-1, IPMC 301-3, IPMC 302-7, IPMC 302-9, IPMC 304.2, and IPMC 304.6 of the Code of the Ordinance of the City of Tarpon Springs were enforced. The respondent has until the 30th of September 2013 to come into compliance with the code sections, or a fine of $50 a day shall be imposed for each day thereafter that respondent remains in violation of said code sections.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Bobby, is there any discussion?
I'd like to have a little discussion. I've got a concern that the daily fine amount maybe isn't commensurate with the violation. And just hear me out, is that we have a really, really large, valuable piece of property on 19 that's in violation, and we compare that against this resident that we just chatted about that had an overgrown tree. Now they're getting $25 a day, and that house is worth $100,000. Here we got a property that's probably worth several million, but is only getting $50 a day. Really, we're not giving them any reason to clean up the property. They're going to just keep on cruising in the way they're at and not make any action. Just so my conversation is, I think the fine should be 10 times that, and then maybe we'll get that thing mowed and cleaned up a little bit quicker. Just an idea as we look at these fine ratios, because her suggestion is no less than. It doesn't say no more than either.
would you like to amend your motion?
Sure.
I'm having trouble with motion. Okay.
Do you want me to come up with a figure then?
No, you use your best judgment. I'm just glad that you listened and...
Oh, no, I go along with you on that because,
I'm thinking it's kind of a safety hazard. You know, when the police officer's taking the time to respond and they might be in there again, we might need a reason to make it safe for cleanup. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree, because they may just decide, well, you know, I want to tear it down, so let's just let it go. And
we might see this again in 6 months or a year unless that fine really starts...
okay.
Okay.
You want me to do another motion,
I
or?
don't think you need, can you just
amend your
amend
motion
the
up?
amount?
Yeah, you can change the dollar amount up to $250 since it's initial violation.
Okay, then I amend my motion to change it to $250
Second.
a day after the 30th of September.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, Bobby, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Fabrinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Demontis?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer? Yes. Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Mr. Casey?
Yes. Okay. Item number 7, please.
This is case 13-800000574. The property address is 1110 East Court Street, and the property owners of record are Ronald A. Wells and Lori L. Nova. We received a complaint on July 22nd that this property was overgrown and that there was an accumulation of trash and debris on the property. I conducted my inspection on July 23rd, found that the lawn was overgrown, that there was an accumulation of trash and debris on the property, and that there were no address numbers on the house or mailbox. The house was vacant, and a lease pendant for foreclosure was filed on August 26th of 2008 by LaSalle Bank. The property was scheduled for foreclosure sale last December, but it's still in the above names. The property was in violation of codes 8-22, accumulation of trash and debris on private property, 8-40, duty of maintenance of private property, 8-52, nuisance prohibition, and 150.00, address numberings. The property owners of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, were sent a courtesy letter on July 23rd of 2013, a notice of violation on August 14th, and a notice of hearing sent first class mail and certified return receipt on August 26th. A reinspection was conducted prior to each notification going out. Copies of the notice of violation and notice of hearing were also sent and emailed to Bank of America, who is the tax escrow agent for the property. I posted the property on August 29th. I conducted a site visit yesterday, September 11th. There had been no change. It appears that the adjacent property owner is mowing part of this property. The trash remains, and there are still no address numbers on the property or mailbox. This property is in violation of codes 8-22, 8-40, 8-52, and 150.00. I recommend a compliance date of September 30th, 2013, and a daily fine of $25.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Cindy? Cindy, I do. Do you think that people are staying at night? Those windows are open, and I'm wondering why.
I think the previous owners probably left it that way. Just what happens, a lot of people who let their properties go into foreclosure will strip things out of the house, leave the windows wide open just so they can basically thumb their nose at the bank.
Okay.
I have no way of knowing who's left the windows open, but there's no indication that anybody is living in the property.
Okay, thanks.
They left it that way.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law that at the time of the alleged violation, sections 8-22, 8-40, 8-52, and 150.00 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tarpon Springs were enforced. The respondent has until September 30, 2013 to come into compliance with the sections, or a fine of $25 per day shall be imposed for each day thereafter the respondents remain in violation of the said code sections.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Bobby?
Mr. Florensky?
Yes.
Mr. Moffitt?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes. All right, okay, number 8 is complied, so we'll go to item number 9.
This is case 13-800000594. The property address is 39972 U.S. Highway 19 North. The property owners are Leonard and Carolyn Pfeiffer, and the business owner is Tim Sheffield. This is a proactive case. On July 23rd, I noticed a banner attached to the freestanding sign in front of this plaza. There were also streamers attached to the sign. The sign advertised Complete Classics. When I returned to my office, I checked our system to see if there was an occupational license for this business, and there was not. I also called the number that was on the sign and spoke to the business owner, advising him to contact Development Services and to remove the banner and pennants. This property was in violation of Code 11-3, Occupational Licenses, or LBTR, 179.01, Permit Required for Signs, and 181.00, Signs Specifically Prohibited. The property owner of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, and the business owner were sent a notice of violation on July 26th, a notice of hearing sent first-class mail, and certified return receipt on August 27th. A reinspection was conducted prior to each notification going out. I also hand-delivered the notice of hearing to the business owner. On August 30th, I received a call from the business owner who stated that he is not in business and just working on his own vehicles. I asked him why he was advertising Complete Classics on a truck in the parking lot and had a business name on the door of his business location. He stated that his landlord was upset that there may be fines attached to a property, so I told him he needed to follow through with his paperwork. He did go to Development Services to apply for his LBTR, but he did not have his state motor vehicle repair license. He has not been back to Development Services since then, but he did apply to the state for his motor vehicle repair license. I posted the property on August 29th. The banners and pennants had been removed. The property was in compliance with codes 179.01 and 181.00. I conducted a site visit on September 11th, 2013. The truck advertising this business was still in the plaza parking lot, and the sign remained on his business door. There was no application still in our system for his occupational license. I did speak to Tim Sheffield, the business owner, this morning. He will be vacating the premises by September 15th as he can no longer afford to remain in business. He did remove the sign from the door, and the truck will be gone by the end of today. The property is in violation of Code 11-3. I recommend a compliance date of September 30th of 2013, and I've adjusted my daily fine recommendation down to $25 per day.
Does anybody have a question for Cindy?
I have a question.
Yes.
Cindy, if the violation exceeds September 30th, this $25 fine now, will that go towards the business owner or the individual that owns the truck and everything else?
It goes against the property owner.
Okay.
And I also spoke to the property owner this morning, and he just wanted to make sure that Tim called me earlier. And
so we're just letting him know, stay on top of this, get that guy out and off his property.
Tim is vacating the premises, so as long as he's gone, that puts him into compliance.
Okay, all right.
And he's well aware of if he opens up, his business somewhere else in the city, what he needs.
Okay.
let me get this straight. He says he's not in business, then he tells you that he can't afford to stay in business.
Yeah, that was one of them.
All right. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law, that at the time of the alleged violation, Section 11-3 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Tarpon Springs was enforced. The respondent has until the 30th day of September 2013 to come into compliance with the code section, or a fine of $25 per day shall be imposed for each day thereafter that the respondent remains in violation of said code section.
Any second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? Bobby?
Mr. Kowinski?
Yes.
Mr. DeMarcus?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Mr. Casey?
Yes. Okay, and finally, item number 11.
This is case 13-800000707. The property address is 1985 Lexington Place, and the property owner of record is Daniel Green. This is a repeat violator of codes 8-40 and 8-52 from case 11-800000900. We received a complaint on August 14th that this property was overgrown and that the bushes and trees were not being maintained. I conducted an inspection on it that same day and found the lawn, bushes, and trees all to be overgrown. This house has been vacant for quite some time and is in foreclosure. This property was in violation of codes 8-40, duty of maintenance of private property as a repeat violator, 8-52, nuisance prohibitions as a repeat violator, and 133.02, tree maintenance. The property owner of record, as determined by the Pinellas County Tax Collector or by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, was sent a notice of hearing, sent first-class mail, and certified return receipt on August 14th. A copy was also sent and emailed to Chase Bank. On August 29th, I posted the property. On September 11th, I received a call from Paula Paulus, the tax specialist in the title department from Shapiro Fishman and Gash LLP. We discussed the case. She, too, had been unsuccessful in getting the bank to respond to her calls. She will see if her firm can get someone to bring the property into compliance. I conducted a site visit yesterday, September 11th, and found no change. This morning, I received a call from an attorney at the Shapiro Fishman and Gash LLP. He stated that the final judgment for foreclosure is scheduled for September 18th. Then the bank will be able to enter the property and correct the violations. This property is in violation of codes 8-40 and 8-52 as a repeat violator and code 133.02 beginning on August 14th, 2013. I recommend a daily fine of $25 per day because this is just an overgrown property. There are no life safety issues.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question for Cindy?
Yes. Is this fine going to be going to the bank, or I guess I'm a little confused on the lawyer group.
When it's a foreclosure, the bank usually tries to take care of the fine.
Okay. Well, where did this lawyers come into it at? I mean,
they're handling the foreclosure on the property.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
They're the ones who recorded the lease pending.
Okay.
Okay. Tom has something.
Yeah, I just wanted you to remember now that on a repeat violation case, you can fine, of course, up to $500 a day, but those are only on Code Section 8-40 and 8-52. And normally the fine would begin to run from the date of the inspection, August 14th, 2013. The other violation is not a repeat violation, so you may want to do two separate motions. One is a repeat on 8-40 and 8-52, and one is an initial violation at 133.02. And you remember now on the initial violation one, the 133.02, you need to give time to bring it into compliance.
All right. Would somebody like to do this?
I'll go for it.
Okay.
I move based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in law that at the time of the alleged violations, sections 8-40 and 8-52, as a repeat violator of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Tarpon Springs were enforced. The respondents have until
There's no compliance date needed in a repeat.
no compliance date needed to come into compliance or be fined $100 per day shall be imposed for each day thereafter the respondents in violation of the said code. I also move, based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented, and law, at the time of the alleged violation, Section 133.02 of the Code Enforcement of the City of Tarpon Springs were enforced. The respondents has until September 30th to come into compliance with said code, or a fine of $25 per day shall be imposed for each day thereafter the respondents remain in violation of said code sections.
Okay, before we get a second, Tim, I just need to make sure that the fine on the repeat is beginning on August 14th.
Yes, on August 14th.
Okay.
And you said $100 a day?
Yes, I did.
And that's still, I'm trying to see, is it still in violation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
To clarify, I'll second both motions.
Thank you. Okay, Bobby, can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Zabrinsky?
Yes.
Mr. DeMontis?
Yes.
Mrs. Archer?
Yes.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Mrs. Vicki? Mrs. Casey?
Yes. All right. There's nobody in the audience. Can I have a motion to accept the affidavits of non-compliance, please?
I'll make that motion.
If I was more prepared, I could make that motion.
I move we accept the affidavits of non-compliance for case 13-800000383, case 13-800000447, case
That's it, Justin, those are the non-compliance.
Thank you.
Okay, can you have a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, did we never do a roll call? No. Okay. Okay, and, there's nobody in the audience for the affidavits of compliance. May I have a motion for that, please?
Make a motion we accept the affidavits of compliance for case number 13-800000195.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's it. We don't have any minutes to approve, so there's no public, so we're down to board and staff comments. Anything?
I'd like to make two comments. I thought the gentleman did a fine job on that last case. I thought that was right down the middle. And then I also wanted to say that Mrs. Casey did a fine job standing in for Mr. Santoda today.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, they don't know your history and experience. So let me just jump in. Wanda has, she ran the code enforcement board for the city of Oldsmar for years. So she's got a lot more experience than she was on.
See,
So
she's hiding that.
she moved to Tarpon Springs and joined this board and has been on and off the board a couple of times. So she's probably got 20 years of experience on the code enforcement.
And you wouldn't know that because I'm only 40.
I was going to say.
That's right. You started what?
Yeah, really.
Junior year in high school or something?
That is a lot of experience.
I just wanted to say that on one of these cases, Cindy, you kind of went above and beyond. You called the realtor and the attorney. I thought that was really nice.
We always do. If there's a
That's
realtor
great.
involved, we contact the realtor. We really trying to find a responsible party. Typically, the realtors really don't care. They'll say, why are you calling me? I don't care. But, we do anyway, so.
That's really nice
We
to
check
do.
every resource available to us to find somebody. We go into the Division of Corporations, if it's a business, to find out the registered agent. So we do our homework.
Excellent. I noticed that little restaurant that was before us a couple months ago is closed.
No, it was closed for remodeling. You mean right there on the
The
corner?
sign,
George's?
the little one over on at 19.
19 and Martin Luther King.
He put on the floor,
It's open.
Yeah, he's open. It was just big sign there closed for remodeling.
Remodeling.
okay, because the sign isn't out in front yet. He was before the board.
Oh, really?
Near Muzzy's. You know where Muzzy's is? By the vegetable stand over at 19 near Winn-Dixie.
George's.
Is that?
No, she's referring to Cats. Cats did close.
Cat?
It was kind of a pizza,
Like-
kids, family joint.
Yeah, like
Oh,
after
that
that
big
sign.
close?
He was in front of us with that sign, and he put the neon strips on.
No, that was a different
George's.
case. That was a
It was
different
George's.
case.
Okay.
He's just close to not remodeling.
Okay. I'm totally confused.
He's open now. His open sign's on.
Okay, I guess I don't know where George's is.
On the corner of Martin Luther King and Alt 19.
Oh, okay.
Across from Walgreens.
Yeah, right across the street from Walgreens.
Okay. All right, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay. Is there any other comment? Is Tommy doing well?
Doing well.
All right, there being no further business, and the time is somewhere around 20 minutes to 3, we'll end this meeting.